Hey, welcome to Polish with Ray. I'm Rachel and today I'm going to be sharing with you Orly's newest collection for fall 2023. It's called Plot Twist. Before we get started, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up if you're excited to see my swatches of this collection, and if you're not already subscribed, make sure you do so you don't miss out on future videos. Orly did send these to me to review, so thank you so much to Orly. So like I mentioned, the theme for this season's release is plot twist. All year they've been doing kind of like a movie theme. I think spring was like romance, summer was like action movies kind of, and then this month we've got like mystery plot twist theme, which is my favorite kind of movie. So as Orly always does, this collection contains 6 polishes. We have 5 creams and then 1 shimmer shade. I'm going to save my thoughts on the collection as a whole and the color story until the end of the video, but I will say I was pretty pleased to see the colors that we had in this season's color pass. So today I'm going to live swatch each shade for you, and then I also have some comparisons from different brands, Orly and then other mainstream, and some indie comparisons to shades that I had in my collection that were kind of similar. I'll link all of Orly's social media and where you can shop these polishes down in the description box. If these are available at Beyond Polish, I will link that below because I do have a Beyond Polish affiliate code. If you use my code RAY at checkout, you'll get 10% off your order, and that is already discounted. Like, Beyond Polish already discounts their polishes, so that 10% is just additional money off. I pretty much buy all of my mainstreams at Beyond Polish because they ship quickly, the polishes always arrive well packaged and safe, and I usually end up saving a good amount of money. All right, let's go ahead and get into the swatches. The first shade is called In the Conservatory. I don't have official descriptions for this, but I would describe it as being like an orangey, kind of rust-colored terracotta cream shade. Really, really pretty, flattering color. And as you can see, wow, the formula was amazing. Almost a one coater, although I definitely could see my nail showing through. So I needed 2 coats for this to reach full opacity, but man, it was perfect in 2 coats. I don't see anyone needing more than 2 for this kind of shade. Dried down really nice and shiny here. Such a beautiful, flattering color. One I can definitely see myself reaching for this fall and every fall. So here is a comparison for you. On the ring finger is Orly In the Conservatory, and then I also compared Color Club Favorite Flannel, which was more pink, Orly Pink Chocolate, which was even more pink, and then Cert Colors Red Rock. Sorry, I couldn't read it. Red Rock, which was a lot more brown. So I didn't have any dupes for this in my collection, which kind of surprised me because it seems like a basic grandma shade. No offense, I love grandma shades, but I didn't have any that were this kind of orangey rust color. I thought the others that I compared it to were orangey and rusty, but not like this one. So love this shade. Next, we're taking a look at Active Folly. Whew, this one is interesting. I would describe this as being like a dirty, yellow-leaning olive cream. It's got a lot of yellow, it's got some brown, it's got some green. What kind of color is it? I don't know. It's an icky color, but I mean that in the best way. Great formula on this one too. Really opaque on that first coat, super creamy, and then built up to full opacity in just 2 coats. These couldn't have been easier to apply, and all of my brushes were a little bit wonky, which was disappointing, but they still applied really, really well. So fully opaque in 2 coats, and very interesting. I don't know that this is one that I would reach for. Don't know that it's super flattering, but definitely unique to my collection, and props for that. So you can see the only thing I really had to compare it to was Elysian Fields. Close, like same kind of family of colors, maybe distant cousins, but not the same at all. Elysian Fields is much more brown. It's got more green in it, and then Active Folly has more yellow in it. Both kind of gross, both wonderful, will appeal to the same kind of audience. And I am interested in this color. I think it has, you know, a place in my collection for sure. The next shade we're going to look at is called Don't Be Suspicious, and I'm trying not to say it with the whole TikTok thing, but this one is just a brown cream. I definitely think it's cohesive, it fits in this collection, but nothing like super remarkable on the nail. Great formula. It did lean a little bit more curly than the other 2 we've looked at previously. You can see a lot more nail showing through. this will not be a one coater for anyone. Definitely needed 2 coats for this, but it was perfect in 2 coats. Longer nails might need 3. And just now I had to wipe off my brush. I did have a little issue with this one running down the stem. Didn't seem to be an issue for the other polishes in this collection, so this one might be just a little bit thinner. Fully opaque in 2 coats, built up really well to this rich saturated brown color, and I was really pleased when looking at it in comparison to some of my other brown creams. You can see Canyon Clay, also from Orly, is a lot warmer, has a lot more yellow in the base, and then I also compared it to KB Shimmer What the Fudge, which I thought was going to be an exact dupe, but that one's a lot more cool. Don't be suspicious, just sits perfectly in the middle. I don't think it leans super warm or cool. It is the perfect neutral brown, so if you're looking for a shade like that, this one was fantastic. We're continuing on with Shaky Alibi, which is the next neutral in this release. Lots of neutrals in this collection. So if you love neutrals, I bet you're loving this. This one is kind of like a beige cream, but it leans very, very pink. It's almost like a dusty, muted, nudie rose pink. If you could put all those things together. This one had a creamy formula. You can see very little nail line after that first coat, but I definitely needed 2 to get full opacity, and it was perfect in 2. And for a shade this light, I was extremely pleased with the formula for this one. If this is your kind of shade, you might need this because it was beautiful and very easy to work with, again, even with Orly's kind of wonky brush. So here's a comparison for you. It was closest to my collection to Zoya Rue, but it was slightly more brown or gray leaning. It didn't pop as much on the nail. It didn't have as much white in the base. Zoya Ray was much more pink, and then China Glaze Sandy Scales had a lot more yellow in it. So no exact dupes in my collection, but this isn't my kind of color. I think I would wear it, you know, to a job interview or a funeral or maybe with a fun topper. I think it's really pretty, but just not one that I'd reach for on a regular basis. The final cream in this collection is called Unraveling Story, and this one is a charcoal gray cream. It's really deep, but not dark enough to be mistaken for black, which I'm always a fan of. This one had a beautiful formula as well. You can see it also leaned on the crelly side. Interesting that some of these were creamier and then some of them were a little bit more crelly. This one was one of those crelly ones, but it did build up to full opacity for me in 2 coats. I think most people would be good with this one in 2 coats unless you have very long nails or you like super thin coats. But yeah, this one was beautiful. Another color I don't usually reach for, but as I swatched this, I was like, why not? It is very mysterious. It's perfect for fall, kind of smoky. And you can see here in the comparisons that it has a really beautiful, like purpley undertone. Essie Climbing High has almost like a black look to it compared to Unraveling Story. And then Zoya Kelly, which I thought was going to be a dupe, leans much more green. So I thought Unraveling Story was a lot more flattering against my skin tone. It was just nice and cool, kind of smoky, probably now my favorite charcoal-y gray cream in my collection, unless you want to call it like a purple with a gray lean to it, but I would call it a gray with a purple lean. And then the last shade in this collection is called Endless Nights, and this one is a beautiful shimmer shade. I want to say it has a charcoal-y gray base, but it might be like a blue base with some charcoal shimmer. It's just, you'll see in the swatch, lots of tiny little micro particles in a variety of colors, and somehow all together they work together to make this beautiful bluey gray color. Oh, isn't that lovely? Wonderful formula on this one. It was a dream to put on. Definitely needed 2 coats for it to reach full opacity. I think everyone will need 2 coats, but they couldn't have been easier. There were a little bit of brush strokes when I applied this one, but those did disappear when it dried down. And look at that pretty blue shimmer. Oh, I really liked this one. I would have liked to have seen more shimmers like this in this release. No comparisons for this one because I had nothing like it in my collection. So this is 2 coats of Endless Nights with a glossy top coat. Such a pretty shimmer.
So that was Orly's fall collection for 2023, Plot Twist. Let me know down in the comments all of your thoughts about this collection, about these colors, their formulas. I love talking to you all about it. My thoughts, like I mentioned in the intro, I'm
really digging these colors. I think most of them are pretty unique to my collection actually. I didn't have too many dupes as you saw for these different shades. Definitely didn't from Orly's line, and the formulas were beautiful as Orly's tend to be. So I was kind of surprised when I posted my comparisons on Instagram, and I do usually get around to posting the comparisons first because, you know, I don't have to edit a whole video to post those. So if you're not following me on Instagram, be sure to do that. I will link my Instagram handle down in the description box. But when I posted my comparisons there, I got a lot of mixed feedback about these shades. I found that around 40% of people really liked this collection, and then the remaining 60% either found it really boring and thought they had dupes for these shades in their collection, or they just didn't like the colors. They thought they were ugly. And I can't argue with that. I think some of these colors are kind of ugly, but I think that's kind of what Orly's been going for here lately, like colors that are just really unusual that you don't see other mainstream brands doing, and that's kind of becoming their thing. And for the most part, I've been all about that, except for this summer. I didn't like that. But I think most of my followers on Instagram are indie lovers. I think indie polish lovers tend to like things that are kind of out of the box and unusual. So I was really surprised that so many people weren't feeling this collection. But like I said, I thought they were pretty, didn't have many dupes. Would I have liked to see more interesting finishes? Absolutely. I wish they would have done half shimmers and half creams. I always love seeing Orly do these really pretty shimmery shades. But if they're going to release creams, I want them to be a home run formula wise, and I definitely think these are, so I am okay with them adding some beautifully formulated creams to their lineup. When looking at this collection and swatching it, there were two shades that really stood out to me that I was like, oh my goodness, I could totally see myself wearing that as a full manicure this fall season. The first one was in the Conservatory, this beautiful orangey terracotta shade. I love these kind of rusty muted colors. I think they look great on everyone, very flattering. This one again had just a beautiful formula. Yeah, I really like the shade, and I actually don't have too many shades like this in my collection, probably because they're a little basic, but I guess I need to get more of them because I really enjoyed wearing this one. And then the other shade that I enjoyed was Endless Night. I think I literally gasped when I swatched this one. It just had such a wonderful formula, and it made me wonder, why didn't Orly include more of this kind of shade in this collection? Because they do these kind of shimmery polishes so well. Beautiful formula, very opaque, and I had nothing like it in my collection, as you saw. I also want to give a shout out to Active Folly. This one was very unpopular actually. I did like an Instagram poll for, are you feeling these kind of shades? Are you liking Active Folly better, or did you like Elysian Fields better? And it was a landslide. Everyone liked Elysian Fields, or they said both. A few people said I like both of them, or a lot of people said I don't like either. And while I don't think this shade is particularly flattering on me anyway, which is funny because I'm obviously feeling these kind of icky greens, but this one in particular I didn't think looked the best on me, but it's one of those shades that I kind of don't care because it's so interesting and unique. I felt really like cool wearing it. You know what I mean? When you wear one of those colors that's not like traditionally pretty, you feel like kind of edgy. That's the vibe I got from this one. So wasn't a favorite, but I did like that it was in this collection. So let me know all of your thoughts down in the comments. Which of these shades are you gonna grab? Or are you gonna grab any of them? Are you signed up for the Orly Color Pass? That's their seasonal subscription. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.